The returned Sophia James tucked a strand of dark hair behind her ear as she stared at the email on her phone screen, her thumb hovering over the delete button. "We look forward to your follow-up interview tomorrow at Harrison Global." The message was clearly sent in error. The company had rejected her application 3 months ago without even an interview. Standing at the bus stop in downtown Seattle, rain pelting her second-hand trench coat, Sophia considered her options. She had already applied to 37 marketing positions since graduating with honors. 37 rejection letters now served as coasters in her cramped studio apartment. Her roommate Priya constantly urged her to network harder, but networking events cost money she didn't have. "What would Dad say?" she murmured, thinking of her father who'd built a small-town hardware store from nothing. He'd say, "Make the mistake work for you, Soph." Decision made, Sophia changed buses and headed downtown toward the gleaming Harrison Tower. The lobby of Harrison Global was intimidating in its perfection, all glass, chrome, and employees who looked like they'd stepped from magazine covers. Sophia felt painfully aware of her rain-spotted coat and the scuff marks on her only pair of professional heels, repaired twice with superglue. "I'd like to see someone from HR. Please," she told the receptionist, whose perfectly arched eyebrow rose slightly. "Regarding? I received an interview confirmation email by mistake. I just wanted to return this." She held up her resume folder, "and clear up the confusion. Take a seat. Someone will be with you shortly." The receptionist's tone suggested shortly might mean never. As Sophia waited, she observed the controlled chaos unfolding in a glass-walled conference room nearby. Executives in tailored suits gestured frantically at a blank presentation screen while technicians huddled beneath it. Through the glass, she could hear muffled shouts about the Peterson pitch and board members arriving in 15 minutes. A tall man in a charcoal suit paced near the doorway, his expression thunderous. Sophia recognized him immediately from business magazines. Jackson Harrison, CEO and founder, known for building Harrison Global from a startup to a marketing powerhouse in under a decade. When one of the technicians emerged from the room looking defeated, Sophia made a split-second decision. "Excuse me," she approached him. "Is it a projection issue or content loading problem?" The technician looked startled. "Both. The presentation file corrupted and the backup won't load. Now the system's completely frozen." "I worked IT support through college," Sophia offered. "Maybe I could help?" The desperation in the room was palpable as the technician glanced at his watch. "At this point, we've got nothing to lose." Inside the conference room, Sophia quickly assessed the situation, aware of skeptical glances at her rain-damp appearance. Kneeling beneath the console, she identified a hardware conflict in the connection ports. "The system's fighting with itself," she explained, reconfiguring cables while typing commands. "You've got redundant signals competing." Within minutes, the screen flickered to life, displaying fragmented slides from the Peterson campaign. Sophia noticed the pitch immediately, a dated approach to reaching millennial consumers. "Sorry, but I couldn't help noticing," she began, then stopped herself. "Never mind, you're all set." "No, continue," came a deep voice from behind her. Jackson Harrison stood with arms crossed, his intense gaze fixed on her. Something about his challenging stare ignited Sophia's confidence. "Your approach misunderstands how Gen Z interacts with aspirational brands. They don't want polished perfection. They want authentic stories with ethical transparency." The room fell silent as she gestured to the product mock-up. "If you reposition this as a journey rather than an achievement, emphasized the sustainable manufacturing, and created user-generated challenges instead of traditional ads." She stopped, suddenly aware she was lecturing a room of marketing professionals. "I'm so sorry. I just came to return this." She awkwardly held up her resume folder. Jackson Harrison took the folder, glancing at her name. "You came to return a resume, Miss James?" "Yes, your system sent me an interview confirmation by mistake." Sophia smiled nervously. "I didn't want to waste anyone's time." "And yet," Jackson replied, his expression unreadable, "you just saved us considerable time and potentially a major account." He opened her resume, scanning it briefly. "Your application was rejected?" 3 months ago. No interview. Jackson's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. That was a mistake. He handed the resume to a woman beside him. Daniela, cancel Miss James's exit interview and schedule a proper one for tomorrow morning. He turned back to Sophia. Unless you'd prefer to continue right now? Sophia blinked, caught between shock and sudden hope. Now would be fine, Mr. Harrison. Good. And while we're at it, he gestured to the screen, I'd like to hear more about your ideas for the Peterson account. As Sophia followed him toward his office, she caught her rain-spotted reflection in the glass walls and almost laughed. Sometimes the most unexpected opportunities arrived on the rainiest days, and sometimes, just sometimes, returning what you thought wasn't wanted could open doors you never imagined possible. The opportunity Sophia's first day at Harrison Global arrived with unexpected sunshine. The security guard issued her an employee badge, a plastic testament to her surreal change in circumstances. 1 week ago, she'd been counting pennies for bus fare. Today, she had her own desk on the 32nd floor. The marketing team is through there, explained Daniela Rivera, the HR director who had processed her paperwork with surprising efficiency. Jackson, Mr. Harrison, wants you working directly on the Peterson account. The marketing bullpen buzzed with activity. Sleek monitors displayed campaign mock-ups while designers and copywriters debated strategy over expensive coffee. Conversation halted when Sophia entered. Everyone, this is Sophia James, our newest team member, Daniela announced. She'll be working on special projects reporting to Mr. Harrison. A striking blonde woman in a crimson suit approached with a practiced smile. Olivia Westwood, marketing director. What an unconventional hiring process. I usually interview my team members. I understand I'm disrupting protocol, Sophia replied, meeting her gaze steadily. I look forward to learning from everyone here. Interesting outfit choice, Olivia commented, eyeing Sophia's simple navy dress, the nicest thing she owned. Freshly steamed in her bathroom that morning. Functional minimalism, Sophia replied with more confidence than she felt. I prefer to let my work make the statement. Olivia's smile tightened. We'll see what statements you make. Sophia's workspace was at the end of the row, a clear afterthought. Her computer contained none of the necessary software, and her desk lacked even basic supplies. When she approached IT for setup assistance, she received vague promises of getting to it later. By lunchtime, Sophia sat alone in the break room, reviewing Peterson materials on her personal laptop. The company's outdoor equipment line had struggled to connect with younger consumers despite quality products. Not joining the lunch crowd? Jackson's voice startled her as he entered with a sandwich from the building's cafe. Getting acquainted with the Peterson file, Sophia replied, quickly closing her budget tracking app that had been open in another tab. Jackson noticed anyway. First paycheck isn't until next Friday. Having lunch today? Sophia straightened. I brought something. The granola bar in her bag hardly qualified as lunch, but pride kept her chin high. Jackson studied her for a moment, then placed half his sandwich on a napkin and slid it across the table. I never finish these anyway. I don't need... Consider it fuel for the Peterson campaign, he interrupted. Tell me more about your authentic storytelling approach. Hesitantly accepting the sandwich, Sophia outlined her vision, documenting real adventures of diverse outdoor enthusiasts using Peterson equipment, highlighting both successes and failures to create relatable content. Most brands sanitize their image, she explained, warming to her subject. But Generation Z values honesty over perfection. They want to see the struggle behind the summit photo. Like your approach to that interview, Jackson observed. Most rejected applicants would have deleted that email. Most applicants can afford to, Sophia admitted. Jackson's phone buzzed with a calendar alert. Strategy meeting in 5. Why don't you join us? The team should hear these ideas directly from you. The afternoon meeting felt like walking into lion territory. Sophia presented her concept while Olivia and her deputies exchanged loaded glances. When she finished, silence filled the room. It's certainly different, Olivia finally said. But Peterson is a premium brand built on aspirational marketing. These authentic struggles could damage their luxury positioning. Respectfully, Sophia countered, their luxury positioning is precisely what's alienating younger buyers who value experience over status. Interesting theory, drawled Thomas Bennett, Olivia's right-hand man. But do you have any actual data to support it? Give me until tomorrow, Sophia replied. That night, Sophia worked until dawn in her apartment. Ignoring Priya's concerns about her crazy hours, she compiled research, created mock-ups, and developed a comprehensive presentation comparing luxury marketing effectiveness across generational cohorts. The next morning, despite her exhaustion, Sophia presented findings that silenced even her harshest critics. Her research demonstrated a clear shift in consumer values that aligned perfectly with her proposed direction. This is thorough, Olivia acknowledged reluctantly. It's exactly what we need, Jackson stated, ending further debate. Sophia will lead the Peterson rebranding effort, reporting directly to me. As the team filed out, Thomas leaned close to Sophia. Impressive for someone without agency experience. Just remember, quick rises often lead to hard falls. Over the following weeks, Sophia worked tirelessly to prove herself. Her desk remained at the end of the row, but she transformed it into a command center for the Peterson campaign. When IT continued to forget her software requests, she taught herself workarounds. When excluded from important emails, she built relationships with junior staff to stay informed. One evening, working late, she discovered Jackson still in his office reviewing quarterly projections. "You're still here?" he asked, looking up from his monitor. "Just finalizing the production schedule for the Peterson documentary series," she replied. "The team is coming around, but slowly." Jackson leaned back in his chair. "They're territorial. This industry runs on relationships built over decades, and you walked in and immediately secured a major account." "I didn't ask to be put in charge," Sophia pointed out. "No, you earned it," Jackson corrected. "That's even more threatening." Sophia hesitated, then asked the question that had bothered her for weeks. "Why did you hire me?" "Really?" Jackson considered her for a long moment. "Because you fixed a problem without being asked, had vision when others panicked, and were honest when most would have pretended." He smiled slightly. "And because you were returning a rejection letter in person, which was either incredibly brave or slightly crazy." "Probably both," Sophia admitted with a laugh. As she gathered her things to leave, Jackson added, "The team respects results, Sophia. Deliver on Peterson, and you won't be the outsider anymore." Walking to the bus stop that night, Sophia felt something she hadn't experienced in months, the weight of possibility replacing the burden of rejection. Tomorrow would bring more challenges, more resistance, but for the first time, she truly believed she belonged in the world she'd fought so hard to enter. The connection. The Peterson campaign launch was scheduled for early October, giving Sophia 8 weeks to transform her concept into reality. She assembled a small team of the company's more open-minded creatives, mostly younger staff who'd been relegated to supporting roles under Olivia's traditional hierarchy. "We need authentic adventurers, not models pretending to climb mountains," Sophia explained during their first strategy session. "People who actually use outdoor gear and can speak to both its strengths and limitations." "My brother runs an adaptive sports program in Colorado," offered Wesley Chen, a quiet graphic designer. "His participants have incredible stories about modifying equipment to accommodate different abilities." "That's exactly what we need," Sophia agreed enthusiastically. "Diverse experiences that showcase real innovation." By mid-August, production was underway. Sophia worked 18-hour days coordinating remote film crews while battling constant budget scrutiny from Olivia's department. Each expenditure required triple justification. Each schedule change met with exaggerated concern. "The Peterson account can't afford these experimental approaches," Thomas reminded her regularly, emphasizing experimental as though describing a questionable medical procedure. One Tuesday evening, Jackson found Sophia asleep at her desk, head resting on storyboards. He placed a coffee beside her and waited as she startled awake. "Sorry," she mumbled, wiping a trace of drool from her chin. "I was reviewing the Montana footage and must have—" "When did you last go home?" Jackson interrupted. Sophia checked her phone. Monday, maybe Sunday. This building does have exits. You know, the Seattle crew had equipment issues, and then the Colorado permits were delayed. And Thomas keeps challenging the budget allocations. Thomas doesn't make final budget decisions. I do, Jackson stated flatly. Pack up. We're getting dinner. I couldn't possibly. That wasn't a request. Ms. James, even marketing revolutionaries need food occasionally. 30 minutes later, they sat in a small Japanese restaurant several blocks from the office. Sophia inhaled the aroma of miso soup, suddenly aware of how hungry she was. My father took me here when I closed my first major client, Jackson explained, ordering for both of them with practiced ease. He believed important business revelations happen away from conference rooms. Your father was in marketing too? Jackson's expression tightened almost imperceptibly. Construction. He built houses, I build campaigns. Different materials, same principles of structure and vision. As they ate, their conversation drifted from work to more personal territory. Jackson described growing up in Tacoma with a father who worked with his hands and a mother who taught literature. They wanted me to build something meaningful, he explained. Dad hoped for physical buildings. Mom pushed for something more creative. Marketing became my compromise. Is that why you named the company Harrison Global? For your family? Jackson's fork paused midway to his mouth. Most people assume I chose it for market positioning. You're the first to ask about the family connection. My father owned a hardware store in Bellingham, Sophia shared. James Family Hardware. Nothing global about it, but it put me through college. Past tense? Jackson asked carefully. He died last year. Heart attack while helping a customer carry lumber to her car. Sophia smiled sadly. Very on brand for him, actually. Always putting service first. I'm sorry. The store closure wiped out my graduation fund. That's why returning a rejection letter in person mattered so much, Jackson finished. You couldn't afford more unanswered applications? Sophia nodded. Dad always said no one remembers emails, but they remember a handshake. I figured returning the resume was the closest thing to a handshake I could manage. They talked until the restaurant closed, discovering shared perspectives despite their different backgrounds. Jackson admitted his frustration with the industry's resistance to change, while Sophia confessed her struggles to fit into corporate culture. Your difference is your advantage, Jackson told her as they walked back toward the office garage. This industry needs disruption, says the CEO who created the very culture that needs disrupting, Sophia teased. Jackson laughed, a genuine sound Sophia realized she'd never heard before. Touché. Perhaps we all need someone to return our rejections and make us reconsider our decisions. Their dinner became a weekly strategy session, moving between restaurants as they refined the Peterson campaign. Each meeting stretched longer as professional discussion evolved into personal conversation. Sophia learned about Jackson's failed engagement to a venture capitalist who had chosen career advancement over their relationship. Jackson heard about Sophia's childhood in a small town where everyone knew her name, but few understood her ambitions. As September arrived, the first documentary segments were ready for review. The marketing team gathered in the main conference room, tension evident as Sophia prepared to present. Before we begin, she announced, I want to thank everyone who contributed, especially those who took chances on unconventional approaches. She nodded toward Wesley and the younger staff who had supported her vision. The lights dimmed, and the screen filled with footage of a one-legged mountain climber navigating a rocky path using Peterson equipment she had modified herself. I don't climb mountains despite my disability, the woman explained in voiceover. I climb because my challenges make the summit view even more extraordinary. When the lights came back up, the room remained silent for several seconds. Even Thomas looked moved despite himself. It's powerful, Olivia admitted reluctantly, but very different from Peterson's traditional image. It's authentic, Jackson stated firmly, and exactly what we promised them. As the team filed out, Jackson held Sophia back. Walk with me? They took the elevator to the rooftop garden, a space rarely used by employees. Seattle spread before them, mountains visible in the distance beyond the city lights. My father would have loved this campaign, Jackson said quietly. He always said marketing should build something real. Sophia turned to find him looking not at the view, but at her. Something in his expression made her heart quicken. Jackson, His phone buzzed, breaking the moment. Jackson glanced at the screen and frowned. The board is calling an emergency meeting tomorrow. Apparently there are concerns about the Peterson direction. Olivia? Possibly. Or someone else who prefers predictability over innovation? As they headed back downstairs, Sophia felt a strange mix of professional worry and personal confusion. Something was shifting between them, something beyond marketing strategies and career advancement, and neither seemed prepared to define exactly what that might be.